Hello and welcome to Ditching Hourly. I'm Jonathan Stark. Today I am rejoined by Dre Beltrami. Let me say that again. Dre Beltrami. I don't know why that
Tongue twister.
caught on my tongue. Cool, welcome back.
Hello, hello. I'm super excited to come back. I only had to stalk you a little bit.
Well, for folks who didn't hear your last appearance on Ditching Hourly, could you just give folks a little bit of idea of who you are and what you do?
Yeah, I am, like you said, Dre Beltrami, and I am the batshit crazy behind the Solopreneur Society. So what I have made my specialty is helping amazing human beings turn themselves into a brand. So I really, really cater to the company of one, whether that's starting your business or those of us like me that are lifelong solopreneurs. And, we don't want to chase the agency model. We want to become an expert brand without compromising who we are and what we're actually starting our business for. So that is my specialty.
Killer. And last time we talked, I think, pretty high level about just being yourself, not trying to be, air quotes, professional or what pretending to be what you
Yeah.
think professional means or whatever.
Yeah.
So I thought maybe this time we could get a little bit more tactical about how you tactically what you publish. Usually I just categorize everything as publishing. It could be podcasting, it could be video channel, it could be a mailing list, it could be a blog. So
Mhm.
maybe let's start there. What channels do you regularly broadcast on?
I can't stand social media.
Mhm.
It sucks my soul dry. So I focus on Pinterest. I focus on search platforms. So I focus on getting up in Google, on Pinterest, and then community. And my community happens to be on Facebook, like many of ours.
Mhm.
So that's where I choose to publish. And I think that's the thing. I think that is at the baseline of what exhausts us and burns us out in our business is that we don't figure out what platform is right for us. I think too often people are talking about what's right for your customer, which is a good point. It's a valid point. It's an important point. But let's be honest, it's the internet. Most of our customers are on whatever platform we want to use. I mean, there's very few cases where, if you want to be on Twitter, you're not going to find your audience on Twitter, or if you want to be on Facebook, or if you want to be on TikTok, or whatever it is. I think that in of itself is picking your platform, is knowing what you want to publish on.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you do want to publish someplace where people are going to see it, the right kind of people are going to see it, the people that you want to help. But I completely agree that you want to pick a platform that's like low friction for you. It's not soul sucking. It doesn't
Yeah,
drag you down a rabbit hole and make you feel awful every time you launch it. So,
right.
yeah, so hopefully there's like an overlap between the kind of people you want to reach and the kind of platforms that feel real natural to you.
Exactly.
Yeah, and it'd be obviously it's gonna be different for everyone. I've worked
Yeah.
with people who are super casual. It's just like easiest thing in the world for them to flip their camera on and just live stream on YouTube.
Right.
For me, that's not normal. That's not normal behavior. But they create an entire video first content workflow in that way, and it completely works for them. It's great.
Yeah. But
Other
it's
people,
knowing that. I mean,
hmm
what a big difference that makes. If
right?
you're more of a writer and you're trying to shove your peg into this video hole, it's gonna feel exhausting. You're gonna get self-doubt. You're gonna spiral into this because it doesn't fit into what you're already comfortable with. And of course, there's pushing yourself out of your comfort zone. But, most of that is a lot of hustle culture. Honestly, it's figure out what the hell you enjoy doing and what you could very easily do, and then pairing that with the right platform, right? So if you are a writer and you don't want to do video, then going on a video platform, not going to make much sense for you.
Right. Yeah, if it's just too much effort or whatever. If it feels like you're wearing the wrong size pair of shoes. It's like,
Yeah,
I'm not going to
yeah,
get better at this. I don't want for me, the thing is, if they don't want, if I'm coaching someone and they don't actually want to get better at it, then forget it.
yeah.
If it's like, if
Well,
they
we can
are,
tell. We can tell when this is not your jam. When video is not your jam, we can tell. And I don't mean the learning curve. I mean when you really don't want to do that, you're not going to be consistent. You're not going to be engaging. We can feel it. We don't have to know you to feel that something's off. And if you're using the wrong platform, it's a red flag. We can tell. We can see it a
Hmm.
mile away.
So what ones are the best fit for you? I know I'm on your email list, but you mentioned Pinterest. Like that was out of
Yeah,
left field. What are you doing
I
on
know.
Pinterest?
I know. And I dominate it. I fucking love Pinterest. Mainly because you don't have to people. There is no peopling. There is no social component to Pinterest. I don't need to message anyone. I don't need to build a relationship on there. It's a visual platform. So, visual content, I'm a designer. This is my jam. And
Hmm.
it's a great traffic driver. So, again, I like to lean into search. So, for me to get down into keywords and get down into creating micro content that focuses on that keyword and then it feeds my Google juice. That's for me, it's all about search. I come into it going, I want to be found when someone's actively searching. I don't want to make a TikTok video that's random that I pulled out of my ass. I want you to be actively on a platform going, I need this. I really like, I'm starting to figure out I need a brand, or I'm starting to figure out I'm a shit writer. I'm starting to
Hmm.
figure out my visuals are ugly and I have shame.
Yep.
So for me and where I want to meet my people, it's an inspiration platform. So yeah, I want to catch them when they're trying to find their sea legs, when they're trying to find it out there.
Mm.
That's what I want.
So
I
what kinds
want
of
them
things?
to actively search.
That's interesting. I don't think about that at all. So
Really?
yeah, and not that so it's great because it's like I don't think it's bad. I just don't do it. I don't
Yeah.
enjoy it. Every time
Yeah, it's a different strategy.
yeah, it's like my background is in database. I'm a software guy, like database administrator and stuff, and so I just like get sucked into the analytics, and next thing you know, I'm just thinking about analytics all the time and keywords and
Hmm.
how do I game the system, and I stop thinking about how should I persuade software developers to start offering guarantees, or like I stopped thinking about the writing and I started thinking about the gaming of it.
Hmm.
So for me, it's a
Yeah.
bad fit because
Yeah.
it does nothing for it just doesn't work for me. It just does. I mean, if I hired someone, I'm sure it would work. Like they would do it. I
Right.
get more traffic or whatever. My strategy is much more of a word of mouth type of thing, like where
Yeah.
people. I don't want people. Well, I mean, it's fine with me if they find me when they search, but I would rather have them be in a community and somebody and then and say like, ugh, I've got this problem, and then someone recommends me.
Yeah. Oh, well,
So,
that's the second tier to mine. My 90% of my business has always been referral.
hmm,
But as far as getting that buzz, that's exactly how I started. And I got my start 7 years ago. Believe it or not, everybody always wants to shit when I say this. Google Plus. That's how I
what?
originally got my start. Yeah.
That's hilarious.
That is how I built my business for the first 2.5 years and dominated. People hated the platform. It's dead. Why is it still out there? And I'm like, I'm making 100 grand off doing nothing but Pinterest and Google Plus. Didn't even have a community.
All
Yeah.
right. Okay. So I'm not gonna say try and convince me, but like what do you think the secret sauce is there? Like is it would
For
you have
Google Plus, what was
well
it?
more so like do you think that if you were just being yourself the way I'm sure you are on Google Plus instead on Instagram, yeah, like what's the problem with Instagram? You just can't stand it
I just
or
can't stand it. I can't stand everybody else. I can't stand. I don't know. I don't like the culture of just needing to post incessantly to be seen. I don't actually want to create shit unless I know I'm seen.
mm-hmm.
I think
Oh,
that's the difference. Like I don't want to create it unless I know someone's actively looking for it.
mm. So what give us a little peek behind the curtain on tactically what are you doing on Google Plus and Pinterest that's working for you? Not that it will work for the listener, but just out of curiosity, it's so weird. Like you're the first person I've talked to that's
Yeah,
like,
I
it's
know. Nobody does it.
yeah.
Nobody does it. And
I
I've
mean, is
been
that
doing
why it works?
this. Maybe, maybe. I see more people in the branding space, especially on the serving female creatives and female entrepreneurs, getting onto Pinterest more.
Hmm.
But I've been doing it for 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
My tactical angle is one, creating actual traffic, like knowing I need to be getting out there and finding cold eyeballs and not being willing to create random content or just post incessantly every day. I choose to pin because can create an image and pin every day. I mean, that's easy enough. And understanding how the algorithm, I understand the platform.
Hmm.
So creating new content is extremely easy because you don't actually need to create new content, like a pin pointing to the same blog post, just a different, pin, just a different graphic. It's new content to them. So
Uh,
it's really easy for me to feed their algorithm.
okay. And so, like, how much time? I'm curious about volume. Like, how much time do you
How
spend?
much time does it take me to manage Pinterest every month?
Yeah, like, yeah, yeah. So I'm curious about two things. Like, is it a daily thing, a daily habit for you, or is it something that you batch? And then overall, yes, like in a month, how much time are you spending
Yeah, so I
pleasing
batch
the
and
algorithm?
I batch for sure. And I have been doing it so long that my systems are completely well oiled. So to be honest, my VA does 85% of it at
Mm-hmm.
this point. All I still do is create the actual content. So I usually batch that about a day and a half a month. I can
Nice.
create, because again, she's doing the bulk of the work. So I'm just mapping out the copy and what I want on the actual pin, and she goes and creates it. So I can create, I just did it in the last day and a half. I did 2 hours on Sunday and about 6.5 hours on Monday and created about 47 pieces of content.
And what are these? Like they're little inspirational quote type thing? Like what would
Like
we see
on
if
Pinterest, they have idea pins, which are basically the equivalent of story pins. So for most of them, they're story pins. And so you post that same ideas as Instagram. So you're giving people an idea or something creative or something inspirational. So I take the content that I write each month and I pare that down into different idea pins. So there might be, 3 to 4 slides, so to speak,
hmm
in that idea pin. And that's one piece of content.
hmm
So I'm just taking the content that I've already written, whether it's in an email form or in an actual how-to lesson or whatever it is,
hmm
and I pare that down into idea pens. And then when I create a piece of content, like let's say I create a new lesson or a new blog post, I just create like 10 pins, just static pins that
Right.
my VA will then put on rotation. So
Yeah.
maybe every 2 to 3 months we pin, that particular article again, and we use a new pin. So to Pinterest, that's a new piece of content.
Right.
So I'm constantly rotating my content that it's usually pinning within 2 to 3 months.
hmm Got it. Yeah. I mean, that's very similar to what I used to do on Twitter, where I would record a podcast episode, grab 10 or 20 pull quotes, really good
Yep.
quotes from it, and then just like schedule those as, 20 or, 10 or 20 tweets throughout the week. And then the next week there'd be a new podcast and like
Yeah,
20 more tweets. And yeah,
exactly.
so you're linking back to the same thing, but you're
Yep.
pulling out different interesting ideas from maybe an hour long interview. Man,
Yep.
I can't. I mean, it's so funny the Pinterest thing. Like,
I
I
know.
it's kind of
You'd be
you're
like,
kind of like
really?
I'm kind of
Really? And you
digging
don't
it.
sell candles and shirts and no.
I know my wife's on there all the time,
For
like looking for
sure.
chair,
For
like
sure.
fall chairs. So
Exactly.
right, and so but the thing about it that never occurred to me is that it's kind of like Instagram, but without all of the garbage,
Yes, that's
and
exactly it.
super
It's still a
interesting.
visual platform. So it's still the same ideas. I don't know what the hell they're calling them. What are they, carousels now? I mean, it's the same idea with idea pins, but it really is. It's also understanding what the platform is trying to accomplish. And I buy into what Pinterest does. First of all, there's no hate. There's none of this garbage that there is, especially on Facebook, but on Instagram too. There's just not that undertone of ick.
Mm-hmm.
They just don't allow it. It's just they're sticklers. You don't get that kind of negative content and that hate shit. And then because there's not really an aspect where, I mean, there's commenting on pins, but honestly, most of it's just spam. And
Mm-hmm.
so, you don't have that aspect where you put yourself out there and then some jackass is gonna crush your spirit, or cause a big fucking issue where you're like, I don't even have an extra fuck to give to you today. I don't care. Right? Like
Right.
that's why I can't handle those kind of platforms. I can't handle Instagram. So much noise.
No, I can't. It's not on my phone. I
Yeah.
can't handle it. It's
So I
like,
feel like, yeah, to your point, Pinterest is like the good parts of those places.
right.
where
Yeah.
I still really get to lean into all of that inspiration and that kind of visual content, which is my bread and butter.
Hmm.
And I don't have to do any of the peopling that makes me, never want to go on social or never want to go on the internet again.
Well, what is Pinterest optimizing for, in your opinion? Like, what's the, you're like, oh, I know what they want. What do they want?
They want inspiration. They want you to give people, to inspire people, to take action, to change things, to create things, to beautify their lives. It's inspiration. Their entire platform is built on inspiration. They want you to inspire the fuck out of people. And the
Mm,
more you inspire, the more they reward you with reach.
that's
It's a long game platform as well. It's a
mhm.
very different platform to wrap your brain around because I've tried to, for the first probably 5 solid years, I really tried to be a hard convert. Like I tried to get people to drink the Kool-Aid constantly.
Yeah.
Now I just don't give a shit because I get that people just don't quite understand it. It's also a long game platform. So content that I'm pinning this week probably won't hit its stride for 4 to 5 weeks.
Yeah.
Again, it's search. So they're not necessarily like, here's your feed, here's what's, real time. It doesn't work like that. It's not in real time. You are not seeing pins that just dropped.
Right.
You are searching for things, or they are optimizing your feed with your previous searches.
Hmm. Man, it's, I never in a million years would have thought about posting stuff on Pinterest, but everything you're
Yeah,
saying about it is really attractive to my
yeah,
worldview. Like the
yeah,
inspiration thing and the long
yeah,
game thing. I love
yeah.
long game. Oh,
Oh, it's
man.
great because also I leverage advertising, which I won't even, it gives me ass sweat to think about using Facebook ads. I can't do it. I'm not brave enough. I can't. I break out in hives.
Mm,
So I use Promoted Pins, which is the advertising platform for Pinterest.
yeah.
So much more intuitive. Oh my God, it's so much simpler just in the concept and just what is available. I mean, the features are not what Pinterest is. It's like an eighth of, the beast that it is. But I enjoy the simplicity, right?
Yep.
Because it still operates in the same manner. But what is awesome is again, you give your pin a little boost, like, okay, yeah, let's get it out there. Let's drop $50 on it. That pin will keep driving you traffic for years. And that's not bullshit. Because I've been on there for 7 years, let me tell you with authority that I've got pins from 2005, which like have different branding, which are for a different brand name that I redirect. And that shit still gets me hundreds of visitors to my website just to that one particular post. And I've got
Wow.
multiples of those. So the more traction it gets, Pinterest goes, well, this must be the best thing when people are searching for this topic.
Right.
After years, you're still netting people's engagement, so to speak, right? Their metrics.
Hmm.
So yeah, we're going to keep putting you at the top of search results and we're going to keep showing you in people's feeds who have done that search prior.
Hmm. Okay, that's amazing. I'm actually going to check it out after this because it does align with my worldview. It's like
Mm-hmm.
Instagram without the garbage, like you said, and I love the
Yeah.
inspirational aspect. And I know from being around my house that people still use it quite a bit.
It's effective. That's what I mean. Like people want to hate on it, but like what woman specifically hasn't bought off Pinterest? It's not
Hmm.
like indoctrinated and, you know, loves it, lives by
Hmm.
it.
Hmm.
I mean, you have to think in those terms. It's a very viable platform that people underestimate and think it's about, fashion and meal planning.
Right. Got it. Let's shift gears over to like Google Plus. Like when you first jumped on, you were saying like you love the intent broadcast by someone searching for like what's a common search that I'd probably pull up Solopreneur
Oh, anything
Society.
with solopreneur branding, I pop
Hmm.
up for. I dominate on those keywords, but starting a business, color palettes, anything to do with identity, brand strategy, brand
Hmm.
development.
Okay, are you what's your how does Google Plus fit into like I haven't thought about Google Plus in at least five
Well, it's
years.
gone. Shudder.
Okay, it is
I
actually
just
gone.
love the story because again, people are like, no, you didn't. You couldn't have. That thing was dead. It was never alive
It
to
was
like,
DOA. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. But that's not true. That's not true. What I'm really, really, really good at is connecting with people, just building relationships in just a very casual, natural way. I'm not talking about, networking and going out there with the sole goal of finding affiliates and bullshit like that. I mean, just connecting with people in a really real way that I have found is exactly how you get people to want to affiliate for you, and all of the things that we try and do in a very tactical manner to get people to connect with us. I'm just really good at that naturally. So for Google Plus, I realized that there was a click on there. I realized that there were people who were saying it's not dead and were actually serving. And I built amazing relationships with them.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really, their audience on other platforms and our shared interest in protecting Google Plus
Right.
that bought me into the click, to be
Uh-huh.
honest. And there are still, I would say, at least 90% of those people are still lucrative brands and businesses to this day and 7 years later. And they're also great, amazing allies and friends and peers out there for me still.
Gotcha. Wild. All
Yeah.
right. So yeah, it was like the in group, right? Because it was
Yeah.
cool. I mean, I was very, very into, remember Google Wave? I was like, this is going to change everything.
Yes, we all thought we were like, just hang on, it will. Well, and again, the platform was search. The platform was like, you search for your fucking topic, you search for your industry. It was, again, a search-based social platform. It was set up very differently. And I really liked how that platform worked and had components where sort of a little bit like email marketing, where you could get people on lists. Like I don't know how deep you got into it, but there was an app called
Not very.
Circles,
Yeah, I remember
um,
that. Yeah.
and where you could, get people segmented into things and then be able to, have notifications go straight to their email box when you drop something new. So again, it was, I don't want to create unless somebody is waiting for me to create it. So it filled that for me. I understood what people were searching for. I built my circles and I was able to produce content that people wanted and received. And the cool thing about Google Plus specifically was that people wanted it to work and people kind of put a toe in enough to be like, okay, if it does, I'm going to be part of it. But people always had a stronghold on another platform, and I didn't. So I
Mhm.
leveraged a lot of these people who took my content onto other platforms for me, and I didn't need to do it.
Right. That's how I always, when people say you should really be on Instagram, I'm like, you share my stuff on Instagram.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Amen. Yes, that is my thought too.
Yeah.
I will be here, but I will make it extremely easy for you to share everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not doing that. So, okay. So, so what's your, these days, now that our dear departed
These
Google
days, the
Plus
only
has
thing
left
that has
us?
really changed is instead of Google Plus, I use a Facebook group. So it's
Hmm.
still, protected and private. I do not use my Facebook page,
Hmm.
um, or do ads or anything like that. I have a really simple flow of get on my list from Pinterest and get in my group. It's always been the flow. Every opt-in that you get, everything that you touch, you are invited to the Solopreneur Society Support Lounge, which is my
Hmm.
Facebook group. And you get in there, and that is, where again, I'm connecting, I'm building relationships, I'm safe, I am sharing content. I am using strategies about, DMs and starting to get into a lot more of that in the last 2 years of if you want this, DM me, and building relationships in DMs, which is working again really well because people are taking my content and sharing it in their own community. I mean, I had multiple people in your community reach out to me and send me screenshots of them talking about me and all these other places, like including Voxer chats. And I was like,
I
you
don't know
guys are
what that
making me
is.
so happy. That's exactly what I want. These are my two spots. This is how you find me. I'm going to make it so super easy for you to find me on these two platforms. But other than that, it depends on people sharing my shit and word of mouth.
Yep.
It just has to.
Right. It's too much work. Like if you're
Yeah,
gonna, Gary V, and you're gonna have a team of people splitting your keynotes into 50 snippets and sharing across 30 social media platforms. It's like, yeah, if you've got a team, okay.
exactly. And I don't want a team. I have a
Right.
VA and I outsource a lot of shit, but I don't want a team. I do
Right.
not want a team.
So what can you tell us about your Google strategy? So you've said a couple of times like I don't want to write something unless someone wants it. So how do you where do you get that ESP from? Like, how do you read people's minds and know what they want before you've written it?
Two places. One is Pinterest. I look at what keywords that I am dominating for, which ones am I coming up in searches more? I also use the intel from my idea pins. So once I drop, let's say 20 a month, I'll go look at that month. I'm always, I have all my metrics. So it's like what idea pin is getting the most traction, what new, like long term. And then I also look at like what new pin immediately hit. Lots of them take a long time, but sometimes there's one that hits within a few days. That to me tells me there's a ton of searches going on for that, and I need to lean harder into that. And the second component is in the conversations I have in DMs, in the conversations I have in my community. I'm a really good social stalker. I'm a really good listener. And so the amazing thing of having a community of almost 9,000 is that they do a lot of talking. And I have never, well, I shouldn't say never. At the beginning, I really positioned as, I'm in here to help you, but I've stepped back after 7 years. This is a community for support. I'm very stickler about the vibe. You can ask anyone. I'll kick your ass out for the littlest infraction. We have a lot of rules because we don't operate like a normal community. I operate like a genuine support lounge where you can come in and ask a question. People will give their time, like literally give their time, like be generous, not just drop a link to their sales page and tell you that the magic pill is right there. So I listen. I do a whole lot of listening. I listen when they ask a question. I listen to the advice that's given from the other members. I have people DMing me and emailing me just off of the emails that I send, and the things that I post in my group. And I'm just listening. I'm just seeing like what people are all over, what people actually buy, what people say they want to buy, and then don't. I'm just always listening.
Like there's the pull quote from the old episode, right?
I'm a great social stalker.
Right. It's like, listen.
I am.
I mean, you're a little bit spoiled because, well, it's not spoiled. You built it, but you have created a watering hole for your ideal buyer. So you get to listen. But
let's be honest. You could go in any group and do that. I mean, yeah, it's my group, and I probably get more intel because I have a lot of behind the scenes interaction. But go into any community where you feel like those people, are a good representation of you, and listen. Just shut the fuck up and listen. I mean, we're all so busy. Like, here's my unsolicited tip. Oh, your mindset issue. Oh, you're this and that. And you go in a group like nobody gives a shit, and it's not being seen anyway. Like newsflash, Facebook doesn't show anything. So go in and listen. Anyone can do that.
Yeah, I will say that there are some communities who do not congregate online. Like I've had people whose target market is doctors, and you're not going to find doctors in a Facebook group talking about work.
Totally.
But
you
so it does depend. You got to go where they are, which could be trade associations and that sort of thing.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
So cool. Let's talk about. I have one last question, maybe not the last one, but another one probably close to the last question about Pinterest. So like you're I've seen it over my wife's shoulder, but I've barely ever used it. So,
you're gonna get off this and go ask your wife a lot of questions. I feel like
you can tell me if this is a bad idea, but my first thing I'm gonna try and do is see if I can automate sending articles daily to Pinterest, just to have some presence there at all, because I'm already syndicating my daily list to like Medium and Reddit and Twitter and LinkedIn, and presumably Pinterest is an option. Instagram is not, which is the reason you'll never see anything from me on Instagram, because I can't automate it.
Yeah. You can certainly automate Pinterest, but here is the big sticking point for a lot of people is that they have a vertical design, and that is what they want. They don't want a square image. They don't want a rectangle image. They want a horizontal rectangle image at a very specific size that is different than stories and all of that stuff. So people get bummed because you have to create it more
Custom
creative,
image.
right? You have
That's
to,
fine.
another image. So if you're going to do that, put it out there and focus on keywords. Because again, if it doesn't, I mean, it is this simple, bro. You put the keyword in the headline, you put the keyword in the description, and you put the keyword on the pin. That's as simple as it is. And when someone searches for that, if you've got that optimized, you're going to show up in the search. It's that simple.
Yeah, I also love your distinction between feed platforms and search platforms. That's
Yes.
gigantic. It's a huge difference.
Yes.
You're turning obviously turning me on to Pinterest, but let's pivot into Google a little bit. So
Mhm.
where I mean, you're posting like all these search platforms, they need to click on something and go somewhere. So do you have like an RSS feed or like a WordPress blog or something where
Yeah, I just have my website. Yeah.
yeah.
So I have pages. I have a lot of pages hidden because I have a lot of series. And then I have the traditional blog page, or I just have posts.
hmm So if somebody went to your website, there'd be a lot of stuff they were missing because they didn't search for it on Pinterest or Google.
Yes, I have it just by design hidden because I
Right.
want you to opt in for everything.
hmm
I want you to
hmm
get on my list. I'm very clear about that. Get on my
Yeah.
list.
Yeah. Yeah. So I used to do that too. I didn't put a list of blog posts on my website for years. I had over 1,000 posts that you could only get if you subscribed to the email
Yeah.
list. And like if you missed it, you missed it.
Yep. That's
I
exactly how I roll. And
yeah.
I'm going to lean even further into that. I'm literally taking all of my blog posts off next year. We'll have three basic opt-ins because I'm launching a new branding bar. So it's all going to go into there. And then I have a whole new idea for the content that, the quote unquote free content that I will still be using to, maintain my search domination.
Yeah, so that's the trick, right?
Yeah.
Because if your my strategy was I never worried about search. I never worry about keywords. I don't even know. I could maybe guess at what people might search for.
Hmm.
But I rely one layer down, which is just word of mouth. But it would be cool if there was more awareness. If there was some kind of lever to pull that was very little work and increase my impact and spread the message more, I would do it
Yeah.
if it wasn't soul sucking.
Yeah.
So everything I've looked at with regard to any kind of paid anything on Facebook or Google is totally soul sucking.
Yes.
I would rather
Agreed.
go to the dentist.
Exactly. Exactly.
But okay, so like you've got enough content. Sounds like we both have loads of like more stuff than anyone would ever read.
Right.
So you
Nope.
could pick the top stuff, use that as your SEO bait and the doorway into did you call them cold eyeballs before? That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Um, so like, oh, I'm searching for how to start a consulting business and like, boom,
Yep. That's
killer,
exactly what I want.
right. Killer
So I
article on
have
that.
gone, yeah, I have gone into, the keyword strategy and set my site up itself, which is part of why I also use pages, is to create the sort of structure of it where it bolsters the particular keywords that I want to show up for. It keeps reinforcing that this site is about brand personality, it is about brand archetypes, it is about brand strategy. Like I have my pages structured so that they go to a top page with those particular keywords. And it just keeps reinforcing that my website is the top site for this. Like I just wanted to keep going. Oh, she's got another new piece of content about this, another. So I've got my top level and then it's all long tail keywords. And I just work that in so I can keep bolstering and keep getting my rankings higher.
Hmm. Interesting.
And then on the other side of it is that Pinterest helps you rank. So my Pinterest content, pins themselves, boards, which are, what you're housing your pins in,
Right.
and your account can all rank. And they
In
do.
Google.
Yes.
Right.
So
Okay.
when I have like a brand color palette board on Pinterest, that will also rank, as well as my website. When you're clicking on color palettes, brand color palettes, branding color, all kinds of long tail variations. And I just, I look at my analytics. I use Uber Suggest from Neil Patel. I really like that
Yeah,
tool
I
for
just heard about that yesterday and I was like, wow,
yeah.
this is the first time I ever understood any of this stuff.
Oh, dude, me too. Like it was such a bitch for the first few years. I did not get it. And his tool, and they've just been increasing or adding so many features and functionality. I'm obsessed. I bought a lifetime, I think 2 years ago, and I love it. So I go into there a lot. He's just got amazing tools to be able to do competitor research. So I've got, very small number of competitors that are really direct competitors of mine. And I'll go in and see what they're ranking for. And I'll create the
Right.
content so that I can outrank them.
See that I can't do. I that like I get that strategy, but I when I sit down to write that, I'm like I don't care about this. Like I mean, I guess I could care about it if it was a really direct competitor, but I know all my direct competitors, and like we agree on most stuff and disagree on very little, and the stuff we do disagree on is like because of our target markets are slightly different,
Yeah.
so it's
Right. But if you
like,
come down to the level of just being found when someone's searching, that's all.
yeah,
That's what it comes down to for me. I don't,
right,
I have a lot of different, probably the opposite because I'm such a big personality that I have a lot of, let's just call it that. My mommy said, you just have a big personality. You're really special. So I have very different, but what it comes down to is I want to create better content than they do so I can rank. What's it for me? And
yeah,
I don't obsess over that. I'm not in there every day. But when I'm going to create a new series or when I'm going to refresh something, yeah, I want to know what other long tail keywords do I have the potential of quote unquote stealing from them,
right.
rank wise. And so, yeah, I totally lean into that and I have seen it work again and again. So,
Mm.
again, if it takes peopling out for me, I'm always going to do it. Peopling is the last thing I want to do. So any
It's
strategy that's not require me to talk to people, I'm going to do.
well, so this is sort of a dichotomy with you though, right? Because like great listener, 9,000
Mm-hmm.
people in this community, right? But you can't
Yep.
stand people.
Yes.
Like it's like,
Hello, duality. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for coming in. This is exactly what I teach. I'm a super complicated creature. And we all are. I mean, that's exactly it. I love my people, but how much bull it's like how many frogs do you have to kiss? I have to deal with a lot of jackasses to get to my people.
right. Yeah,
So yeah, those people exhaust me. I don't want to talk to them. I want to talk to my people.
indeed. Yeah, I totally get that. Well, let's pivot a little bit. So you've got 9,000 members in the Facebook group. That this is sort of a selfish question for me because someone recently, it comes up from time to time where people on my list, I talk about the list as members, like, oh, fellow list member John Smith wrote in to ask about a follow-up question about yesterday's message, right?
Mm-hmm.
And someone recently replied with something very persuasive, which was, you keep saying fellow list member, but we have no way to communicate with each other.
Mm-hmm.
And wouldn't it be cool if there was a free or, I have a community, but it's paid. And he was like, well, what if you had a free community? Like, wouldn't that be cool if we could actually talk to each other? And
Mm-hmm.
and I've thought about this a lot, and
Mm-hmm.
it would be cool, and it would further my mission to rid the world of hourly billing if more people could compare notes.
Right.
The but my list, I have enough people on my list that I am confident I would get at least 2,000 people on day one
Mm-hmm.
for some kind of a private but free group,
Right.
and tell me why I shouldn't be scared of that.
Well, you
Like,
should be scared of it.
it's scary, right? Because like
Yeah, you should be.
the admin alone of like I lost my password or like all of that. So I don't know how to use Slack or I don't know how to use Facebook or like just that alone would be overwhelming. And content moderation and like you said before, the rules that'll kick someone out. It's like, yeah, but I got to be there to kick them out.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I
Yeah,
think it should be. A community is very time consuming and a heavy commitment. Like you have to want a community. And most people don't. Most people want the community without the work, which means you don't want a community.
yeah,
It's a lot of work. I mean, 7 years down the road, yeah, now I'm tapped out. But let me tell you, the first 3 years, I was the face of that. I was the one pushing it. I was the one, making sure that the vibe was held, that people bought into what I was creating, that people kept this about real, genuine support, no promotion. I mean, I had to work really hard to set that vibe and to set the expectations to the point that the other members now carry that for me. I mean,
hmm,
yeah, I have to log in to remove members, but the members themselves are the ones that reported on. I don't even
right,
have like second guess it. Like if you reported it, done. I'm not even gonna go check what the fuck you did. If they say you're a dick, get out.
yeah, yeah.
It's a
So
lot of work.
it is.
Most people they start the community and then they just go into it when they want to sell, and that's not going to do you any good.
No, right. So yeah, it's like you create a culture and it needs
You have to
to
feed it. You
figure,
have to
yeah,
feed
yeah,
it.
right,
Yeah.
just like
You
sourdough
can't
startup.
phone it in. A community is like the one thing you can't phone in. Like you can't
Agreed.
automate most of it. You
Yeah,
really can't. You have to show up.
right. Yeah, I agree, and I would much rather do that. Like like somebody will be like, "Can you believe this woman has 1 million followers on Instagram?" I'm like, "So what?"
Exactly. Gives a
It's
shit. That
yeah,
sounds
it's like
like a nightmare to
it sounds
me,
like a
to be honest.
nightmare, right?
Yes.
And
You speak my language. That's
so
not something I've ever wanted or ordained.
no, I mean it's like that, and $5 will get you a Starbucks, and I'm sure they you could easily build an influencer business off the back of 1 million followers, but like I don't know, it's just not that's not the road for me. But the idea, it's almost like you have to create your own social network. If you don't want one of the existing ones, you almost have to create your own
Yep.
to 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 get to that as a solopreneur, especially because I'm also anti-employee. For me, it's fine for someone
Hmm.
else, but you have to create this sort of culture, right? And
Yes.
it's like your own social network where there's
Yep.
the cultural norms,
Yep.
and people like us do things like this and do
Yep.
not do things like that,
Yep.
and then
And you
it.
immediately recognize if you fit in when you land or not. It does not take time. I mean, I have people constantly like, damn, your group's fucking awesome. It's so not like the rest. And I have ones that are like I literally have the question, like there's entry questions when you can when you can go in, and I can't remember exactly what I say, but I just kind of say something like one of the things that we don't allow. And I say, does it sound like you found your people or we're a bunch of weirdos? And like I can't tell you how many times they're like, sounds like you're a bunch of weirdos. Like then they don't respond. Bye. They don't get in. It's really simple because it's so tangible when you walk in that community. And you're absolutely right. I built that because even 7 years ago, especially when Google Plus really did die, really did die a slow death. And I was like, okay, it's time to let go of this. I really need to get on another platform. What is that going to be? I built it so that it could be my own little social network. So we could operate based on the rules that I want to do business like, and none of this spammy, sleazy shit. So I started it so that I could kind of recreate what I loved about Google Plus, which is these people get it. We all respect each other. We share things within each other, each other's communities on other platforms.
Right.
And I just wanted a bubble. I wanted an internet bubble that me and my people could feel safe and have fun and be ourselves. And it has just grown. And I have, like I said, not spent a dime on Facebook. Advertising, never posted. I mean, I probably haven't posted to my page since like 2016,
Mm,
2015, maybe. I have no idea.
mm,
Um, it's all organic. It's all word of mouth or, Facebook, maybe showing people a suggestion for the group and me funneling people from Pinterest. That is how that entire 9,000 has been built. I have never spent a dime to grow community or offered it as, a bonus for a course or anything. It's
right.
literally like, do you want genuine support, and indoctrinating them to our beliefs on a page that says, then get the fuck in here. There you go. It's super simple. It's one page, same page I use for everything. Hey, one last thing. And I break down what it is, what the beliefs are, how we roll, the things we do and will not do, the things that you'll get your ass kicked out for.
Hmm.
And people come or they don't. That's not
Right.
really my problem. I only want people to make it in there who have jumped through all of these hoops of I'm not a douche. I'm not an asshole. I'm not going to sell to you. I'm not going to do this. Like if you jump through all those hoops and you got in here, dude, let's get this party started. What's up?
Right.
That's where I'm at. I don't want to talk to or deal with you until you have jumped through my hoops and I know that you meet that criteria. And for me, that's what the community was. It was that final step of like, I made you do all this and you still didn't run. So I think we might be kindreds.
Yeah. Go through the gauntlet, run the gauntlet,
Mm-hmm.
the hazing period, so to speak. Cool. Well, what's next for you? Like, what's going on? You said you've at this point you've been able to be a little bit more hands off with the membership because the culture is kind of spread to enough people that you've got either whatever you call them, like super fans or like people that help enforce the norms
Yep.
when you're not around.
Yep.
What's new? What's going on?
Well, that's all free. What's new is that I want to get paid for that. I want to get paid for my amazing community. So I am, and I mentioned this a little bit earlier, even on the content side and my blog side, I'm going to launch a branding bar. I'm launching it on October 3rd. I've been been not building it out content wise, but building it out belief wise and fundamentally and logistically, what do I want this to be? And again, I don't want to create content truly unless I'm getting paid now. So, and the other thing is like, just know I create amazing content. Like I create detailed lessons with examples and amazing things. So I have worked in the last year to formulate a plan to be able to really transition everything I'm currently doing into a paid version. So the community will slowly be moved over to a paid community, but the branding bar itself, I'm so excited about. Because for a long time, what my biggest struggle was bringing the different segments of the business together, right? Branding. I mean, come on, there's so many angles of it, right? There's the identity, there's the messaging, there's the strategy. Like, how do you bring this all together in one product? How do I bring it together so that I can get them to what they want? I can give them the full framework if they're just starting a business, but really cater things towards that solopreneur who needs to do this on their own terms, needs to find the business model that's right for them, needs to find the experience that's right for their customer, needs to figure out who the hell their dream customer is and all of those things. So it's all going to go into this branding bar. And typical to me, experience is kind of my second tier specialty when it comes to branding, is really understanding how to turn a human being into an experiential kind of entity online and really creating identity and messaging, everything that reinforces this top level experience. And anyone that's been around me knows that mine is biz. It's just always been biz. I have happy hours instead of webinars. I'm always making boozy references. So I'm really setting this branding bar up as a bar where there'll be different things like the brand strategy seller and the wordsmithing tap pro. Yes. So it's really like this fun house for your business, and then going to transition the community to paid. So that, again, if you're in my sphere, you're paying me. It's just a bottom line. It's just me figuring out my business model. We had talked about that last time. Like your hourly billing, like I needed to find you a very long time ago. And I've been doing day rate for the last 2 years. And I do like that in some regards, but as the bulk of my income, no. I want a 5-figure membership, and I want a community that if you're in it, you're paying me. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's not too much different than what I'm doing now. It's just going to be packaged very differently. And I'm really excited because I think it's going to be one of the coolest experiences on the internet for a solopreneur. Like it's going to truly feel like you're walking into this epic, adult playground where you get to play with your business and really figure out what the hell fits you and what it means to be yourself online, because we can all throw that around, but what the hell does that mean? Right. So yeah, I'm going all in with branding bar. I'm real excited about it.
I love it. I love that. I love that it's going to be presented as a place. Yes. And right, yes. It's like the metaverse.
Yes.
Dre's metaverse.
Yes. So yes, it's not going to feel like the internet, and that is the goal. Is like you feel like you left the internet and walked into this safe place that you can't even imagine being in it and not being yourself. Like it just breathes individuality and originality and being your authentic weirdo. I just can't wait to do what I do on that kind of scale. I haven't found the vehicle before or been able to land on that to really scale the impact that I want. And I think this is going to be it. I think this is going to be a really good move for me and for my community, for solopreneurs. That's my bread and butter and what I'm truly committed to wholeheartedly. I mean, 7 years in, how many people are like, well, what happens when you don't want to be a solopreneur anymore? Like, I guess we'll cross that when it happens, because I am a lone wolf. Yeah. I cannot imagine ever wanting that to not be the case. So, but if it is, then we cross it. Then 7 years later, I'm still real comfortable.
Right. Yep. Yeah. Outdoor cat here too. Mm-hmm. So cool. Well, where can people go to find out more? Where's the best place? obviously Pinterest, but I mean,
I know. I
send
mean, come
people some.
on, Pinterest, just do a couple branding searches and you'll find me. But otherwise, the solopreneurssociety.com. And right on the homepage, I've literally already changed it. Uh, I want to play a game of truth or dare with you. So I dare you to go over there. Literally on the front page, you have the option to pick truth or dare, and I will take you through the journey from there. So that's honestly the best place to start. If you just want to get straight into the community or you're dying to see what this is, go on Facebook and search for the Solopreneur Society Support Lounge.
Amazing. I love it. Truth or dare.
Yeah, truth or
Well,
dare, right out of the gate. Let's set the tone.
well, Dre, thanks so much for sharing all that. I'm sure people are going to love it. And I hope to have you back again next time to find out how it goes.
Yes, thank you for having me back. And if you don't invite me back, I'm just going to stalk you until you do again.
I dare you. All right, folks, that's it for this week. I'm Jonathan Stark, and I hope you join me again next time for Ditching Hourly.